Check one, check two. This is it. Welcome to the Cannabis Coffee Hour.
Keep the fire blazing, hotter than hot.
We're doing it. Once again, I got a great guest, an amazing guest, an old friend, a dope friend. He was a writer for High Times in the mid-aughts. He was the cannabis grow writer, and he also helped run the first original, legal cannabis cups for High Times. He lives in Brooklyn. I've known him for years. He loves hip-hop. He loves art. He's written a book. He's a writer. As I said, he knows all about growing the herb. He's going to tell us all about that.
Keep the fire blazing.
And he has a book, Cannabis, A Beginner's Guide to Growing Marijuana by Danny Danko. And he was the senior cultivating editor of High Times. He has this dope book. Danny.
Yes.
How's it going, my man?
Amazing. Also, in my IMDb credits is the Coffee and Weed video, Rob Cantrell featuring Danny Danko, Coffee and Weed. And we were just saying that's almost 20 years ago. That was like 2007 or 8.
2007 or 8
yeah.
when...
Yeah, you had Adam Dubin from he did the Beastie Boys "Fight for Your Right" to video, "Fight for Your Right" video, and yeah, that was amazing. We did that at the coffee shop, Vox Populi. Is that what it was?
Yeah, Vox Pop. No, that video was in those times were so dope. And Danny, you were such a big legend to me, and just meeting the High Times crew. And then I did that video in 2007 when weed was still legal. Illegal.
Oh yeah.
It was highly. It was illegal. And Adam Dubin I met through Comics Comedy Club, and couldn't have been cooler to shoot that for me.
Yeah, and I make a cameo there, and once again, way ahead of your time, because the whole coffee and weed thing back then, you were tuned right in. It's like the hippie speedball, right? The perfect combo. You know.
I have been, but so have you. I mean, you have been talking about growing herb and legalization, and even back then, I was like, maybe High Times is a little bit too much on it. Like, you guys were so hardcore. Even like you guys were definitely outsiders in punk rock to me. That's what I thought was so cool about you guys.
Well, it was a mission. You know what I mean? It was like there was no industry. You know, now we talk about the cannabis industry. But at that time, there really was no industry. There was the underground, and there was the culture, and there was the community, but really no industry to speak of. And so besides us, High Times, there was a few other companies, and then there was Normal, but that's more of a, nonprofit. So, yeah, it was a dream, going over to Amsterdam, being treated like a customer instead of a criminal.
Oh, you had the coolest job.
Yeah.
I mean, stand-up comedian is
That's a cool
is one
job.
of the coolest.
Yeah.
But working as a cultivating editor at High Times magazines in New York, and you were kind of like skateboard and sketchy and all that, which was I thought was so awesome. Danny had this legendary article, and I'm not on grow articles that much, but this legendary one is in the South Bronx, and it was all about growing weed in the South Bronx in the late 90s in these warehouses.
Yeah, it was called Jungle in the Bronx. It came out in 2005, and that was really kind of like my debut. I mean, I had written other grow articles, but that was like the feature, running through the centerfold, like real making a name for myself kind of thing there.
It was very guerrilla and cool, and very like Vice magazine of that time.
Yeah.
Like even before Vice, you were talking about being ahead of your time. That was before even Vice magazine. That was High Times magazine actually going into real grow. And this was back in, weed dealers won't talk to you unless they know you're real. And it was serious business.
Yeah, no, I mean, there were times I had to ride around in the trunk of a car or be blindfolded and things just to see these places, and just getting the trust in order to be able to be allowed in. But I've met people now to this day, even people in the industry, that said that article actually inspired them to get started growing, which is just incredible to hear, especially from people who are making a name for themselves on the legal side, which is just tremendous. And at the time, you're not thinking there's going to be any kind of repercussions from this. I'm just trying to meet a deadline, to be honest, and just trying to put something out there that I want to read. That if I was out there as a reader, because I was a reader before I was working there. You know, I was a big fan of the magazine. That's how I got into growing. So to be thought of as a colleague of, you know, Jorge Cervantes or Kyle Kishman or Ed Rosenthal, it was like a dream come true. It's like meeting your heroes, especially over in Amsterdam too. Like all the breeders that, you know, Soma and all the people over there. Like it was just, it was such a small world back then. Like the amount of people who were willing to risk it all for this plant, you know, this healing flower.
Yes.
So, you know, and that's really what it's all been about. It's for me, it's not about building an industry. It's about removing the stigma that this is somehow some narcotic or drug that should.
Yeah,
be
Danny
feared,
was
you know?
legendary for rolling up just about anywhere. Movie theater, in front of cops. You definitely had this punk rock, cool hip hop. All the hip hop cats loved Danny and shot him out. Now he's being humble, but didn't MF Doom give you a shout out?
Oh yeah, another claim to fame. Yeah, he mentions me in the song Bells of Doom. He says, like Semi say, do more boomers. They cure tumors and beware of the doomster.
Oh,
And
shit.
Semi was my graffiti name.
That's your graffiti.
Yeah.
Danny did real, actual graffiti. Not me. I did it on a notebook high. And, well, I did one alley in Virginia, and then the dude almost caught me. And it was broad daylight, and I was like 13, and I ran like nothing. I got away with it.
Well,
and
bro,
I didn't finish it. It was terrible.
But here's the thing: it's all
It
the
was the
same.
80s.
It's all the same aesthetic. Whether you're looking at skateboarding, you're looking at graffiti, you're looking at you know, jam bands. It's these movements that are started by young people to create something new for themselves. And the one thing that's shared across all these things is cannabis. And so, to me, it was the uniter. You know, this sort of nonpartisan thing. Even you know, anyone. You can meet someone overseas that doesn't even speak the same language, but you put your two fingers together and you put them to your lips, and now you made a friend. You know, so to me, it's like it's this amazing. You know, I don't want to use.
Communal.
I don't want to use the word lubricant, but it's you know, because that has other connotations. But it's this.
Yeah.
It's this uniter. It's this thing that's kind of bridges cultures and
Yep.
bridges gaps between age groups and
Yep.
politics and everything else. So all these movements, skateboarding, graffiti, hip hop, you know, these movements that are young people trying to find something to do and something to
And to
enjoy
express
and
themselves.
share. Yeah, and
expression is
and
very important. Why do you think
Right.
I do this podcast? It's not
Exactly.
for the money.
So-
I got to express myself, Danny.
So
I
the
got to hit the buttons.
yeah. So the stuff about like lighting up in public and all that, you know, I learned that from my elders and the pioneers that came before me. You know, Fab Five Freddy told me Jean-Michel Basquiat would light a joint in the middle of, you know, like Le Cirque.
Yeah.
They'd be sitting at a table just having dinner, and he'd just fire up a joint.
Hell yeah.
I mean, it was a different time. People had, you know, cigars at the time. You could smoke, you know, in bars and at the restaurants and everything. But to light a joint and then just dare to kick you out, you know, like I'm sitting at the table with Andy Warhol and Jean-Michel Basquiat and Fab Five Freddy. Now, are you gonna kick us out for smoking weed, or are you gonna just tolerate it and let it go down and test the boundaries, test the limits? And that's the whole DIY punk rock aesthetic. You know, let's do it ourselves.
And you
know.
gotta hold the line. And
Yeah.
you need people to hold the line.
Push the envelope.
And especially when it's honestly wrong.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing. I mean, I'm not political, but my politics definitely lean towards most people that legalized. I'm cool with.
Yeah.
Because the truth of the matter, everybody knows it now how big the, you know, we're talking in these terms, but we're kind of talking granddad-ish right now, you know, because it's so legal and so big and
Sure.
so like,
Sure,
but
but-
we have to respect where it comes from. And you do always talk about the history and the reason for freedom, I guess.
Well, one of the main reasons for that lately is people will say to me like, "Oh, I wish it was still illegal," and I need to.
I hate that
I
shit.
hate that shit, and
Yeah,
I need to remind them of, you know, all of the incredible like atrocities that occurred to this peaceful culture because of it being illegal.
People
So,
got their lives
yeah,
fucked up.
You obviously
man.
never
And
got
some scared
arrested or
kid,
you know,
kicked
didn't
out of
have
college.
lost a transplant, you know, for an organ or something. It's just ridiculous how many awful things have happened because of this plant to people. And so I don't long for those days, but it's easy to see when you're younger and you're growing up nowadays and you don't remember that. that okay, there's taxes, there's over regulation, there's all this crazy stuff we got to deal with. We got to jump through all these hoops. But the reality is, man, we used to get raided and locked up and thrown in jail. So, we have come a long way. There's still obviously a long way to go, and we're in the infancy of legalization right now. It's only just begun. But I don't like that complaining about like, I wish it was the way it used to be, because that we were outlaws and all that, but like there were serious consequences, and it could have happened to anybody. And just because it didn't happen to you doesn't mean it wasn't bad for the world.
Yeah. Ja.
We got
where's my
Lord,
where's my
Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy.
um
I love that in the Chappelle.
There's a bird. We'll give it a bird. But no, you're 100% right, Danny. It's just it's flipped the script, but you have to remember that those you're talking to a guy that did 3 nights.
Right. I love your joke. The Where's Waldo joke was classic.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the thing. It's like the idea that you can right now just walk into a store and buy gummies and a vape pen and some flour and legally walk outside that store and just fire that thing up anywhere people smoke cigarettes. And you know what? If you don't like the stuff at the store, you can grow your own legally. So New York, we are quite privileged in what we have here, for us as the law. We've got social consumption lounges coming down the pike.
Upstate, they're really cool with growing. And people are really like, because economics are a big deal in New York City right now. And the thing is like if you grow your own, you're really cutting out the middleman. And it is kind of like, I don't know, it's like an aspirin for people, in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I call it a healing flower. I tell people that all the time. It's like, you got to remember, that's all this thing is. It's just a part of the pharmacopoeia for thousands of years. And it's only been illegal for like 100 years, So even before that, you can see that it was part of medicine in the late 1800s and early 1900s. So, and the tradition of hash making goes back thousands of years. There's families and cultures.
India,
that
you start thinking.
Yeah, all North Africa and
cannabis like
Morocco
coffee has been in most cultures. Wouldn't you say? Like, it's been dominant in some.
It's traveled the world based on just people bringing it all over the place. It's a staple. It's like any other like corn or soybeans or anything else.
And that's why it's so easy to grow. And so, because that is like a factor of why it should be grown. It's so easy to grow because weeds are so easy to grow.
I think people have this misconception, too, that you need like acres and acres of land in like Central or South America or something to grow it. All you need is like a 2x2 or a 3x3 tent, smaller than a refrigerator in your New York City apartment, and you can never have to buy weed again. I mean, it's as simple as that. As long as you, pay attention to it and give it the right environment and climate, you can, you can keep the fire blazing for pennies. For pennies to the dollar of what you're going to pay, and you can get started for like under $1,000 too. I mean, that's the thing. You get a tent, you get a light, you get a fan. You get some pots and
rooftop,
or a rooftop. Outdoors is best, obviously, and greenhouse to me is the best of both worlds, to be honest, because you have the benefits of outdoor where you've got the sunlight when you need it, but you also have the ability to control that environment, which is what why indoor is so beloved. And so a greenhouse where you have supplemental lighting and the ability to also deprive the plants of light. In the middle of summer, you can flower plants and you can grow year round with something like that if you have the space and the time and energy. So, hey man, you got options. You can go to a farmer's market and just buy a jar from a local farmer. That's the way I see legalization. I don't. And if you want to go to the Apple store and buy gummies and vapes, there's that option too. I think, I remember the days in the late 80s where there were droughts, like actual weed droughts.
Yeah, you would call around and nobody would have any weed.
Yeah,
Man.
nobody.
And
like,
even the coolest of the cool, it was
Right.
just dry. Somebody got busted up top,
yeah.
and it would just dry out,
Yeah.
man.
Typically, like, summertime, late July, August, you couldn't find any weed. I'm talking nothing. So people need to, remember the old days and remember the history and the pioneers and how all this went down.
Yeah, I was telling you before the podcast, I've never been more happy in my life, to tell you the truth. And I do believe a lot of it is because of legalization of cannabis and being at my age and just navigating, getting older, and doing this podcast and staying creative and living in the city. Like, I don't know, it just all seems to work. As well as coffee and cannabis. Now, where you are, this is the Cannabis Coffee Hour.
Right.
And I have been brewing up some coffee. Now, do you like coffee?
I
Dave?
love coffee, and I love the combination of cannabis and coffee because, it's just the perfect, uplifting and kind of inward, going feeling. It's a perfect way to start the day, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Kind of, obviously, depending on what you're doing, heavy machinery might not be ideal. But as you mentioned, that whole, how we're happy now. It's like people are like, oh, I smoked and it made me paranoid. It's like, well, maybe you only got paranoid because you were afraid of getting busted. And now you can actually, harness that feeling rather than allow that to be a fear. Allow that to motivate you to, create something or accomplish something. And I do believe there's a lot of productive, peaceful potheads out there that do their thing. I've met them and I know them, and I am one myself.
Yeah, you're amazing, and you've been productive, and you're a great dude and a great person, and you've held the line, definitely with legalization, especially in the Northeast and around the world, talking about growing. And I don't know, it's just coffee. How many cups, cannabis cups, did you work in Amsterdam? That is I got to go there with you guys.
That's
I
right.
performed when Slightly Stupid rocked the mics, rocked the stage. I did give out an award and did 10 minutes on stage.
Do you remember what year that was?
Yeah, 2007.
2007. Wow.
Or 2009.
Oh.
It was the Greenhouse one. It was Super Lemon Haze.
Okay. Yeah. See,
Won
that's
that
how I have
year.
to.
That was a big year. Yeah. You know all the strains. Talk to the kids, not the kids, the old people, the people over 40 to 26 that listen to this podcast.
Right. Well, I first started going over there in the 90s. I went as a vendor. I worked for a company called Headcase. We made hemp baseball hats. And so in 1998, I was a vendor at a booth at the Cannabis Cup. And it blew my mind. I was a young, I was in my 20s, 26. And just to be able to see live plants in the booths, to be able to meet people like Jack Herrer and Alan Dronkers and Ben Dronkers from Sensi Seed Bank and Ariane from Greenhouse. It was mind-blowing. And the DNA guys were there. It just, THC's, Adam and Doug. It was mind-blowing and also just so enlightening for me to see that, hey, this is the way it could be in this one place, which we considered like Mecca for us. Why can't it be this way back home? And so then I started working for High Times full-time in 2002 and going over to Amsterdam every November. We would have Cannabis Cups. So I don't know. I've been to at least, I'd say, 16 or 17 Amsterdam Cups. Then we started doing them in the States, in the U.S. in 2009 and 10. We started with California and Colorado and started doing them all over. We did Seattle and everywhere, Canada. And at that point, I've been to over 100 Cannabis Cups, just High Times ones, and then obviously
describe
a lot of other
coffee and cannabis in Amsterdam when you roll in. The weather's usually what, kind of cold?
Yeah,
what
well,
coffee
November.
shop are you rolling in right now, Danny? We're talking Barney's, or are we talking Greenhouse?
Well, you show up in the morning, you want to get some breakfast. Typically, you land early. You can't check into your hotel. I go straight to Barney's. It used to be called Barney's Breakfast Bar, and you'd go there and just roll up a spliff, have some breakfast, have some coffee for sure, because it is a coffee shop, and like that's
Yeah,
the
they're about coffee. You can get a
all
fucking
about it.
awesome latte.
Amazing coffee all day long. They're just drinking coffee, smoking weed, and it's
The
really
Dutch are so dope. Not to just interject, but one of the vibes I always loved about the Dutch, and then I went there and I learned about it, was gezellig. And that's the word that they have for an emotion that we don't have in the English language, which means warm and comfortable and like a quill. It's coffee and weed is what gezellig really is.
Yeah, absolutely. They value that their comfort time. They don't understand going into a coffee shop and buying a coffee in a paper cup and walking out of the coffee shop. You don't have time to just sit and drink a coffee. So they don't do to-go cups very much over there. They're like, sit, enjoy a coffee, roll yourself a joint, relax, read the paper, have a piece of pie, and gezellig,
and drift away.
Gezellig that ass.
Yeah, gezellig that ass. Gezellig all day.
Yeah.
Keep it warm. Let's play around. Getting down to the sound of the underground herb growing. Danny Danko, we're flowing. We're going. We're doing a podcast. We're going to make it last. We're pumping beats. I got lasers.
Oh, man. Crumb cake.
So this is Drift Away. So
Okay.
I did a pour over. Have you had a pour over before?
I mostly just do, drip or espresso drink or whatever it might be at home. We do drip. I do a little bit of cold brew on occasion, during the summertime. But no, I don't know too much about the pour over. I mean, it sounds kind of self-explanatory, right? You just pour it over.
This is the chemex. So the chemex,
that's
this
glass
is a
on
piece
glass.
of glass.
Right.
So and it's engineered, I think it's Swedish or something, but it's actually scientifically engineered for every particle to go down. This is like the most high intense bomb.
Right.
And it's been around for like hundreds of years. Like,
I love
and it's
it.
just and it gets everything down. And with a paper filter, what I learned with coffee, espressos does have cholesterol. So the doctor told me I got to slow down a little bit. Nothing crazy, but he recommended drinking, and you'll see this around, filtered coffee. So I'm just trying to hip kid. A lot of this podcast, a lot of life is just passing on knowledge.
Yeah.
So this is probably the healthiest, but you still get a almost espresso feeling, like, because if you got the good shit, and I think this is the good shit. Do you think these beans are good?
They look amazing to me. I mean, definitely. And, before this book, my other book that I wrote was the High Times Field Guide to Marijuana Strains. And at the time, that was 2011. And people would kind of clown on me for some of the my takes on it, hints of cardamom and things like that. But the reality is, with coffee, with cigars, with wine, and with cannabis, there are, true connoisseurship takes you deep into, the nuances and the subtleties that you get from different beans, different flower, different tobacco leaf, different vintages, the terroir of those vintages, where they were grown. All of that, plays a major role in this. And if you love it like I do, and if you're deep into it like I am, you understand that's part of connoisseurship. That's part of being a true aficionado. And so I can respect the beans, man. I have a lot to learn, though, because like I said, I know, light roast, medium roast, dark roast, but I can't.
I always go for medium roast.
I
personally.
can't tell, like the Ethiopian pea berry from the Colombian wingnut.
Well, I did learn from this podcast that that's where coffee beans come from. Is Ethiopia. So if you ever get originally.
Right.
Originally. So if you ever get, that's a good bean. Brazilian and the ones I've favorited. Colombian's always good. These are ones that are dope. But
What about roast? You like a dark roast or
medium roast?
Medium.
Always.
Medium.
I always love that Stumptown.
It's like the hybrid, right?
Yeah, it's the hybrid. I want the hybrid. I want the Chem Dog. This is called Drift Away, and this is the Roaster of the Year finalist roast. She Roars is what this is called. Tasting notes are stoned fruit, toasted almonds,
Okay.
milk chocolate. Roast level medium, 3 out of 5. This is this is Guatemalan. What's this country? You might know that.
Oh, I gotta put on the.
You got
Hold
1972 as well.
Burundi and Guatemala. Wow.
Yeah, where's
See, so
Burundi at?
that's Africa, I believe. So.
Oh shit.
Yeah, that's amazing because we do the same like with cannabis. The only difference I think with cannabis connoisseurship is we also judge effect. I mean, I think with coffee you're going to get a very similar effect with tobacco and with alcohol. The effect isn't really part of the judging. You're really about flavor, taste, aroma, things like that. But with cannabis, effect is really such an important factor. And these days, in particular, when you have all these different options out there, to me, it really, at the end of the day, comes down to the entire experience. The aroma, the taste, the flavors, of course, but effect is so important. And if it didn't have that, I don't know if I'd be as obsessed as I am.
Yeah.
I'm constantly looking for that, like, really creative, uplifting, electric buzz.
Well, coffee will give you that right off the butt.
Oh, yeah.
Coffee's got that. And then a good herb I always loved, and I got the best from you guys, was Diesel. I was getting Diesel from you guys from High Times when Diesel was Diesel.
Yeah, the
and
real
that shit
sour.
will make you want to write a rap song in about 3 minutes.
Yeah.
It's very creative, good indoor. Like if you're just hanging out and want to get gazellig and draw a spaceship and rap over some dub beats, it's very good.
For sure.
But let's sample some of this coffee. We have 3 glasses. I'm not going to do any milk. I hope you don't mind.
No.
We're not going heavy. I'm just going to go a sample. And with Max, our executive producer extraordinaire, is on the 1s and 2s today, and he always likes to get a taste. So we're going to just do a simple, look at this as a taste test.
Perfect.
Like if you were at a cannabis cup, and we were sampling, super lemon haze.
Yeah.
For the first time, you like to have a clean palate, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I have a whole kind of ritual where I'll check out the flower first visually, smell it before grinding, then I'll grind it up. I'll smell that post-ground flower. I like to judge in joints, so I'll roll a joint, take a dry hit off the joint before I light it, get that kind of like essence of the flower going.
You make me want to smoke weed.
We will.
Don't worry.
What's that? Well, it depends, honestly.
You just want a fresh palate to taste. If you're tasting all day, I've heard these guys
If it's a one day, if it's a 1 day thing and I've got 30 strains, I'll do those in like a glass one hitter or something like that. But if I have the time, I like to test out each one in a joint. And then I'm also judging the burnability of the flower. If you have to keep relighting it and it burns like a piece of charcoal or something, that's no good. So I call that pretendica, when it like looks great, smells great, but then doesn't have the kick when you smoke it, or doesn't burn right, or just doesn't, flavor doesn't translate. So yeah, I mean, you have to judge effect. I mean, I think it's most important, and it can be hard to do. I mean, that's the number one question is how do you judge, right after you just smoked another joint. But the cream rises to the top, and the things that are going to shine through. And the ones that do shine through, you revisit them the next day again, and you try to narrow down until you have your top. You take your 30, you narrow down to like a top 10, then you narrow down to like a top 5, then you've got your top 3, and then you kind of do your 1, 2, 3 best in show. But it's, the winner has to have all qualities. It has to look good, smell good, taste good, feel good, burn right, because sometimes you'll be judging the same strain grown by different growers. Now you're not even really judging the genetics. You're judging the grower themselves and whether they overfed the plants. This is one of my biggest pet peeve, to be honest, in cannabis, particularly cultivation-wise, is overfeeding. I think 99% of plants are fed too much nutrient, and you know.
Oh shit, we're talking about nutrient.
Yeah.
Danny's getting deep.
Overfeeding, you know, it's
Yeah,
like the
you
plant does not need, you know, it's not a matter of more food, bigger plant, better buds. It's actually, you want to feed lightly and just bump it up if you see signs of deficiency. You can always err on the side of caution. It's much more difficult to fix overfeeding and overwatering than it is to just bump it up incrementally as needed.
Yeah.
But we're in the weeds with talking about the weeds.
And growing. But people dig it. And I do think it's natural. You know, the thing about cannabis, we can go so deep on the whole idea of what's the things in your brain, the receptors.
Right. Well, we have an endocannabinoid system, and we
Yeah.
have THC receptors in our brains, and you know, these are things you can look up. Also, this is not like tinfoil hat theory stuff. I mean,
No, yeah, this is medical stuff. There's
There-
actually receptors in the human brain.
and cannabinoids in breast milk. You know,
Yes.
when babies are first born, they're some of their earliest exposures to cannabinoids. Now, they're not smoking bong hits, obviously,
Yeah.
but there are cannabinoids in the breast milk that actually help with the attachment of the baby to the breast. If we want to
Yeah,
get,
it's just such high protein.
Is this
Like
an
I've
R-rated
done
show?
No, that's au natural. This is a hippie show.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
we'd like to get our hair down. We'd like to,
Yeah.
do bong hits,
Burn the
and,
bras.
and shoot lasers. But let's taste this coffee, guys. Let's respect She Roars. Thank you, Max, for being so patient with the setup and all my bizarre demands with the setup.
Oh, wow.
Is it good?
Yeah, it's got it's got some interesting qualities. Very nutty.
Yes. Yeah, it's not hot. I haven't perfected. I'm sorry. It's hot. It was brewed, but I do need like a heater plate. My last guest complained. So the temperature might not be great, but I know the taste. Here we go. Let me taste this thing. No, shout out to Don Will. He just said the coffee was cold when it came through the chemex. And it is. It's a little bit, everything's doing your setup, but no, I do get a taste of almond, toasted almond, milk chocolate for sure, stone fruit. It's that, you're looking for that citrus. And they do have that in cannabis strains as well.
Right.
You have strawberry coffee as one of your favorite strains, and that has citrus appeal, which is kind of this. When you think of citrus, it's like a lemon squeeze. It wakes you up.
Yeah. I think sativas in general tend to have more of that limonene and the citrusy aspect to them, tangy and things like that. The tangerine flavors. But again, I mean, those are kind of oversimplifications too. People say, "Oh, indica sativa, total bullshit." It's not bullshit. I mean, it's an oversimplification of a much more complicated situation. We're only scratching the surface of what we're learning about this plant because it's been held back for so long. I mean, no one's been allowed to even study it. So with the cannabinoids and the flavonoids and the terpenoids that we're discovering and the combination of those things with THC and with CBD and CBN and CBG and all of these amazing things, we're barely learning. How can one plant, suppress your appetite in one case and actually increase appetite in another? It's the diversity of the effects you can get from this plant is outstanding. And one day people are going to look back and wonder why we ever had prohibition in the first place and how we were able to be so easily fooled.
What's your favorite stoner rap tune?
Wow.
And you're welcome to have any crumb cake. I'm talking with crumb cake. But I
Yeah,
can't
okay.
deny crumb cake. Especially if I'm drinking coffee.
Wow.
It's always there. But it's there.
Stoner rap tune. I mean, I gotta say, Car Thief by Beastie Boys is like one of my all-time favorites. It's just got so much depth to it. There's like 64 tracks of music in that song, and it's all about hash brownies and
Yeah, the Balls
I'm a
Boutique is
farmer.
a very good Stony album.
But I would say also
But that
I
track
love
especially, so some of those get
I love
super
Latin
trippy.
Lingo by Cypress Hill. I love
I do
that
too.
song.
That's a dope tune.
I love
And
that
Send
song.
Dog-
Send
So yeah.
at the forefront of that one, and that Spanglish that he speaks, but the beats on that I love. I mean, Passing Me By.
Yeah.
There's so many great stoner rap tunes. It's
Tone Loc.
sure, yeah, for sure.
He had Chiba
The
Chiba.
Funky Cole Medina.
And one of the first MCs was what was it? MC Chiba, or it was like It was like right before Curtis Blow, and it wasn't even
Willie
hip
Chiba.
hop.
There was a Chiba.
Yeah, there was like, and he was like Eddie Chiba.
Eddie Chiba.
That's
yeah.
who it was. Eddie
That's
Chiba was like
kind
in the 70s,
Latin
like
funk.
Latin
kinda,
funk,
right?
but he was actually rapping, but they didn't call it hip hop. But that was like the precursor to Curtis Blow.
Yeah, and that's where all the break dance records came from. Before there was hip hop, there was breaking, and you would just play the breaks of the record, and a lot of those records were from that era.
Can you break, Danny? Can you do a pop?
It's been a few years, but I certainly I had the parachute pants. I had a break dance crew. We did all of that. I'm.
Can you do a robot?
I could do it all.
You could do
I
it
could
all.
do the worm.
You could do the worm.
Yeah, I mean, at one point, I think I could do windmills.
Oh, you're talking shit. I'm
not,
throwing cap.
Not suicide.
I'm throwing cap on the windmill.
Not suicide windmills. Maybe just a backspin with my legs swinging around.
Yeah. I could do a backspin to a freeze. I could do a kick windmill. But rocking the shoulders.
No.
If you're rocking the
that's
shoulders, that's a very high level
that was-
athletic move. That's when
that
you're
was a
the
step-
headliner.
That was a step too far for me.
And
that-
head spins.
Yeah,
People
no
were
head
People were
spins.
fucking themselves
Oh, you
up
could
with
break
the
your
head
neck.
spin.
You could
Yeah.
break your neck. No,
People were
just
breaking their neck on the porch.
backspin into a quick little freeze.
Oh yeah. Did you ever do the suicide? Remember that? That was Eminem did this one time, and I'm not like a huge Eminem. Shout out to Eminem, but I'm like as old as he is. But there is the suicide was when you would walk out and you would just flip and land on your back, and you would kick.
That's a
over.
crazy one. Yeah,
it was crazy and stupid, and you had to be like 13 to even appreciate it.
I grew up in Boston, and there was a crew there called the Floor Lords, and that was like our rock steady for Boston, and they were
the floor. That's a cool name.
The Floor Lords. That was the crew. The X-Men, Floor Lords. I was not a member of that crew. I was in BSB and IMOC. Those are my crews.
I was in a comedy rap trio called the Lords of Midnight.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah. We did one video and then we disbanded, but we had fun making the rap.
Yeah.
It was an Easter rap, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Anything with the Lords, like you were talking about this other band, Lords of Brooklyn, that's actually here in Brooklyn, and they're a big New York graffiti. I know you're like me, love Beat Street, love old New York shit, and you're working actually in a really cool dispensary in New York. Let's get some New York vibes.
Yeah. So I'm involved with Con by Yankee Stadium. We're at 898 Girard Ave. In the Bronx, we are literally across the street from Yankee Stadium. It's a licensed legal cannabis shop. I'm there typically every Saturday, educating people on,
When I say con, you say bud. Con.
Bud.
Con.
Bud.
When I say con, you say bud. Bud. I know it's corny.
But what's great is the whole Con Bud. This is the third location of Con Bud. We have there's one in the Lower East Side, another one in the South Bronx, and then the one that I'm at by Yankee Stadium. And it's all about second chances. And the founders have both been in jail for cannabis, and we typically tend to hire people who have suffered from
Much respect.
the war on cannabis, and giving people second chances is the theory there. And I also want to educate the consumers. Like, you don't just walk into a dispensary and pick whatever's the highest THC level on the board. It's not about bang for your buck with weed. It's about, like I said, effect, flavor, terpenoids, all that. And there's an orchestra performing, and you got to have all the instruments there. THC is just the beat, and then you had to add those layers, add different tracks to that. So you want myrcene or limonene or caryophyllene. All these different terpenes are going to have a different effect in different ratios for different people. Just trying to educate people about, this might not be the right strain for you. Maybe, you might want to look for something with more of this particular terpene, or if you're looking to sleep, you might need CBN or something like that. indica dominant strains or gummies or vapes or whatever it is. We're all about education. We're all about redemption and second chances. So that's my gig on Saturdays. And then during the week, I actually work for Champs trade shows. I work for the trade show. I'm building a cultivation section in this already existing huge trade show that's been going on for 25 years for smoke shops and head shops, and now grow shops too, and dispensaries and legal. This industry is $1 billion industry, and like Hyman Roth says, we're going to be bigger than U.S. Steel.
That's amazing. Yeah, New York area is just getting so good for the cannabis and the legalization. What are your top strains or like companies that you're fucking with right now, Danny?
Wow, that's a tough one, but I mean, I like this company.
People want to know.
Yeah, I like this company called, like, on the larger scale, I like Rolling Green. I like Nanticoke. There's a few of those that I like.
Rolling Green is always great. I've tried, and that was it's always a little bit stronger. It kicks.
For sure. And I like the ones that take the time. They put their stuff into jars rather than mylars. That really present their flower in a nice way, and you're able to get eighths or quarters and things like that. And on the smaller scale, I love the new micro grows that are coming on board these days. I think that's a game changer for New York cannabis. I think it's a way to compete with the underground and out of state stuff, and I think that's really going to be where we thrive is our micros, like Sensi Cultivation and the Collector and Dr. Dankenstein's and the brands that are producing in smaller quantities. If there's anything that I've learned about cultivation, it's almost the idea that the smaller you grow, the better the quality. And the bigger you grow, the lower the quality.
And they say, like, growing your own weed is actually the best way. Like,
when you
put your own love and stuff, when you smoke it, if you are a true connoisseur, you're kind of getting your personality.
Yeah.
Max, I wanted to do the guitar. I need a little bit of tech help from you. So this, I wanted to run it through the 404. Danny, keep talking about New York cannabis a little bit.
Yeah.
Where you see, what are the top places probably to smoke in upstate New York?
There's so many cool waterfalls and, anywhere along the Hudson
some shout
River.
out to the stoner towns. Which
Right?
stoner towns are you hanging out at? Kingston?
New
Been to
Paltz.
Yeah, New Paltz. They got some
Kingston.
good dispensaries. You can grab some great herb.
Yeah.
They're and that's where actually you're big. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of really cool towns up there. There's towns that are now really encouraging cannabis as part of their industry, which is amazing to me. And towns that have opted out. I mean, let's not paint too rosy of a picture. We do have overregulation. We are overtaxed. There are issues with out-of-state products being backdoored into our industry and lab testing problems. There's a lot of issues. I mean, we're in the infancy of legalization. It's only been 2 years, really, and we've already made $2 billion, which is crazy, and that number is going to rise like crazy too, which I think is amazing. The amount of taxes and things that we can put back into education, our roads, our infrastructure. Hopefully, maybe make the subways run a little better, modernize our systems here that we have for the people, and so I do think New York cannabis is it is leading the way in a lot of ways. You see the mistakes that have been made in other places, like Washington State, for instance, where there is no home grow, or New Jersey, just across the river from us. Here, there is no home grow allowed in New Jersey, and there's a lot of benefits there for the larger companies that are multi-state operators. We call MSOs.
There we go.
I want the small, family farmers to be able to compete, because they do create a better product. Now, if you just want a gummy or a vape pen, that's perfectly fine. Go and get that. I think that's a great option, and I'm glad it's out there for people. But for true connoisseurs and aficionados like me and you, we want high-quality flower at a decent price that's grown naturally without pesticides and lab-tested and clean. And
We want to take
You know, it just feels
clean
better.
bong hits.
Yep, clean. And, you know, we have that opportunity now. We don't have to smoke moldy weed. We don't need paraquat. You know, take that paraquat.
What is paraquat?
That's in the 80s when they were really cracking down on weed. They actually had this herbicide called paraquat that they would spray on weed fields in Mexico. And the issue with that was, you know, in Mexico they would still end up harvesting the weed and selling it, but now it's got weed killer or plant killer on it. And so, you know, this idea that now we've got labs testing the weed is just phenomenal, because over the years we have all of us, if you're over a certain age, have smoked contaminated weed, and there's no reason for that.
No, fresh grown herb and having a great jar of your friend's good grown strawberry cough. That's what you're really living. I've only had one zip in my whole life. I've never been a cat that had his whole zip, but it does feel like you're driving a Cadillac when you got your own zip in a jar, a glass jar, and you could take big fat bong hits, and you got a couch, and you got a guitar with a wah-wah pedal.
You know, almost all the complaints people have are prohibition-based. If people are like, oh, well, you can't trust the weed. Well, that's because it's not legal and it's not lab tested. Oh, I don't want kids to have it. Well, at the legal dispensaries, they card you at the door, you know. So all these things, that it costs a lot. Well, it costs a lot because of the risks that people took. There's no reason for us to be paying $50 for an eighth of cannabis right now. The reason we paid those type of prices was because people took risks and it was illegal. The cost of production is much, much lower than that without the risk. And so these companies are getting away with charging us a lot of money because they have a lot of overhead and infrastructure. But you don't need that. You know, you just need a seed and a dream, man.
I see a time of minimalism opening up. Everybody's online too much. Just go and grow some weed and have some fresh water. Grow some tomatoes and some mushrooms.
Touch grass, smoke grass, field grass, and grow grass.
All day. Grass is how we play.
Put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah, lock it down on a bumper sticker, Danny. I want to do some stickers for the podcast. Do you have any, because you're an old graffiti guy, do you have any info? How should I go about and get a cool sticker that I could slap of the Cannabis Coffee Hour? And I know have you had any cool stickers in your life?
I think your song title, Coffee and Weed, is like the perfect sticker right there. It's like, if you guys don't know, go on YouTube and check out Rob Cantrell Coffee and Weed. I make an appearance in there. Who else is in there? The guy,
it's Arj Barker.
Arj Barker.
And then
during the middle of
Rick Manello, who was good. Rick Rubin's very good close friend from NYU that wrote all these great scripts, that directed Tougher Than Leather, the Run DMC movie.
Isn't he the one that says, we only play rock music?
Yeah. He's well, that could have been.
Rhyming and Stealing video, right?
No, you're thinking about the King of Rock video for Run DMC, and you're thinking about, it could have been Bud. Remember, he was on Letterman all the time?
Yeah, Larry the Bud Melman.
Yeah, I think it was Larry the Bud Melman used to deliver it, but he definitely did he was in the Fight for Your Right to Party video. He played the dad.
Oh, right, the dad, right, yeah.
But he was an amazing person, R.I.P. Rick Manello, and he was beyond cool, and we took a subway ride home. And because it was deep in Brooklyn, and we rode the train for like half an hour.
That was Ditmas Park.
Yeah, it was Ditmas Park, and we hung out for a lot. And I think he was living somewhere in the South. He was living in the Bronx somewhere or something, and he had to take a long train ride. And it was another shoot. It was another shoot for Adam. We took like a good 45-minute subway ride all through New York, and it was awesome. I was just talking to him about Run DMC videos and early, New York '80 filmmaking. He was a film nerd, He was amazing. He was
Yeah.
awesome to have a
And
free
Crush,
Wi-Fi at the coffee. Where's my beat?
they did Crush Groove too, I think, right? That was
I think they were in Crush Groove, but that's when, Crush Groove hip hop got so big. That's what was so crazy about Crush Groove. And that's the Beasties did do an appearance in that at the
A great
Fever.
Yeah.
There's like 10 seconds of the Beasties in
yeah,
that
they
film.
play a song that they actually never
But that was a
released.
big studio, was what I was gonna say. That was like when the big studios came and was like, we're
Yeah.
gonna do a hip hop movie with
Yeah, the
Run
Fat
DMC.
Boys were in there too.
Sheila E., one of the coolest of the cool.
Yeah.
Are you a Prince fan?
Oh my God! I mean, I'm a Prince stan. I mean, Prince could do no wrong. I got to see him live a bunch, which was pretty amazing.
Oh, you did?
Oh yeah,
I never saw him
yeah,
live.
yeah. Oh,
Max,
what
can
a-
you turn the
what
beat
a-
up a little bit?
What an artist! Yeah, got to see him in intimate club shows and Madison Square Garden. Amazing stuff from Prince, man. Some of my favorite songs of all time. Actually, saw the Purple Rain tour at Houston the Houston Summit, 1986 maybe, 87. Purple Rain tour. Sheila E. opened.
Oh shit! And she had the drums.
Oh,
And
yeah,
that was
yeah.
the cool thing.
Congas.
She was a badass. Oh, the congas.
Oh yeah.
We need to get some Max. Can you get us hooked up on some congas? Will you rock the congas with me?
Yeah.
My idea was just maybe rip bong hits and me playing funky guitar would be a good visual. And we're getting close to the end, guys. It's actually 5 minutes towards the end of the amount of content. Yes, Danny, thank you for being the guest. So you like the coffee?
Oh yeah, yeah. I love the effect. Yeah, and it tasted good too. It's like I like that pour over style. I'm gonna look into that. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Glass
It's
on
simple.
glass. It's we do that with the bongs too. You got glass on glass. You got no metal, no plastic.
I love everything out
Clean,
of glass.
clean.
I love. I use mason jars. I like drinking because I was drinking out of plastics, and I am getting a little bit weird about microplastics and stuff. And everything tastes better when you drink it out of a glass jar, like Coca-Cola, any type of. When I drank beer, like a glass jar is just the perfect container for all kinds of stuff. Herb it's the best to have. I mean, like I said, having a fat mason jar of herb, that's the granddaddy, right?
Oh yeah. That's the cool thing about growing your own too, is you have like just jars from different harvests, and you can basically just go and pull out whatever you want. You got your special jars for special occasions, jars for the daytime, jars for the nighttime, and 2 months, 3 months down the road, you got a whole new set of jars coming. So it's almost like you got to finish up your old stuff before the new stuff comes, and it's a good problem to have.
Yeah, it's a great problem to have. Back again to the Cannabis Coffee Hour. Danny, thank you so much for coming through. Is there anything you want to plug to the good people out there?
Yeah, I mean, I guess just, follow me on social media. The Instagram is Danny Danko HT. Everything else is just Danny Danko, Twitter and Facebook and all that. If you have anyone in your life or someone you love or your family, friends that's struggling with addictions or bad thoughts or anything like that, just have them try cannabis, even if it's a last resort. I've met many people over the years that have told me that it saved their life for different various reasons. So give it a shot, and yeah, just enjoy and keep it green, keep it lit, keep it clean. And,
Is that what they say?
stay high.
Stay high.
You know.
I appreciate you so much, Danny. You're the man for coming through and doing the Cannabis Coffee Hour. Max, thank you for so much for the production help.
Come check out Champ Straight Shows. We do 7 shows in 2026.
Okay.
And, yeah, it's a B2B show, and if you have a business out there in cannabis or any kind of smoke shop related stuff, check out my book. It's on Amazon and anywhere else you can find books. I sell them on eBay signed if you want to buy it directly from me.
Do it.
And
you can learn to grow weeds. Simple as that. Yeah, you've heard the man talk, man. He knows more than anybody. Not anybody. There's some big hitters out there, but you're one of the big hitters in terms of cannabis history, especially in New York, and especially with High Times Magazine. And I appreciate you, Danny.
Thank you, Rob.
And also, you've always just been a regular cool friend to me, like beyond cannabis. Oh, sorry. That's my timer for an hour. I don't want to waste anybody's time. Max, your time is important. Danny, your time's important. I want everybody to check out Danny's book. Check out Champs trade shows if they come to town if you're starting a cannabis business. I want to give a shout out to Drift Away. She roars. Great coffee, right, dudes?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right, that's it. Peace and love, everybody. We appreciate you. This is episode 342, just for you.